Hey guys, welcome back. And our next project. I was trying to think of what my next project was going to be. I was looking for something sci-fi, and I came across this. Some of you may recognize it, some may not, but this is the tanker from the Cylon Tanker from the TV series Battlestar Galactica. This is what they held all the raiders in when they attacked the battle stars during the peace armistice. They stuffed them in here and hid them. So the Colonials were looking for for base stars, and there were none. And then they found these, and that's where they were coming from. So it's a cool little ship. It's an unusual little ship. You don't see it very often. I can't remember anybody ever building this, to be honest with you. But a couple of years ago, I came across this in paper form. That's the cool thing about paper modeling, is that there's a lot of models out there of stuff that you can't find in styrene. And I downloaded it, and I actually started it one time, and it wasn't coming out great, but the problem that I had about it was that it was too small. That's what I was really bothering me. It would only be, when completed, probably between 4 and 6 inches, if I remember. I don't remember precisely, but it would have been a kind of a tiny thing. But it's a cool ship, and it needs to be bigger, in my opinion. So life went on, and then I recently purchased a 3D printer, a filament printer, and so that opened a whole new world. So I decided I wanted to build this, and to figure out, well, if I could build it, is I went on a website called STL Finder. Okay, STL Finder. STL Finder, what it is STL, those that don't know, are the names of the files that people create to make prints. Okay, that's the extension that they use. There are other ones too, but we're just using this for right now. So this is cool. So this, instead of going to all the different sites that have 3D models on it, you just go here and it finds it for you. It searches all those sites for you. So you just go in here, you type search, you type in this case, Cylon Tanker. You hit the enter button, or you hit the search button here, and it comes up with all kinds of things it thinks you're trying to do. Okay, I don't like the search engine myself. I think it comes up with all kinds of crap that you're not even looking for. At least some things in here are actually Cylon related, but there are a lot of things that aren't also. But I get it. But it's just kind of goofy. Look, we got Centurions you can build here. But anyway, up here and this way here is the Cylon Tanker that came up. So we're going to click on this, and this takes us to the information about the tanker. It turns out somebody published it to Thingiverse, and there's a link here you can click to go to it, and this will take you to Thingiverse. And now this file here was created by a David Bogarts, which is pretty cool. Alright, so thank you, Dave, for this, and it's free. That's the cool thing. So what you would do, for those that have never used this before, you'd click on the link and it downloads the files for you. Sometimes in here is information on how to print it, the specifications that they use, because not all, you can't just, 3D printing isn't just put it into your printer and hit print and it comes out perfect. It doesn't. Okay, it takes some tweaking of the settings, but sometimes people put them in here, sometimes they don't. Okay, but that's a whole different thing. But anyway, we downloaded this file. Okay, we unzipped it, and then we brought it into our slicer software. Okay, for us, we're using Cura, the Cura software that came with my printer. It's not, I don't know if it's the greatest or what have you. It's what came with my printer, so that's what I use. Okay, I'm not experienced enough to take it and to just go out and start saying what software is better, if that makes sense. Use what I have right now, and as I need to, I'll figure out how to get better and more options and stuff like that. But anyway, this is my software, and we're going to go and we're going to bring up the parts that we need. In this case, it's 4 parts make up this tanker. In here, actually, you'll see there are actually 5 files. Okay, let's take a look at it real quick. All right, again, this is for people that haven't seen this before. In this case, you got the Cylon Tanker is the second file here. In other words, this is a complete tanker, all in one print. Okay, and then you got, if you want to, in different sections, you got the bridge, you got the engines, and then you got the tanks. You got a left and a right tank, basically. The difference is I believe there's going to be a little less detail in the one-time print type selection. I don't know, I haven't done that yet. But I decided to do the parts. Okay, so let's just start with the bridge for sake of argument. So we're going to open up the bridge and look how teeny it is. It's a tiny little thing. I think this is actually 20 millimeters tall. That's it. I mean, it's tiny. So what I like to do is I take these things and I resize them up. In the case of this one, right now it's at 100%. I just went off the cuff right now to a 500%, and that brought it up like that. So it's 102 millimeters now, which brings it to be 4 inches long. Okay, so you add 4 inches to the tanks and all that when we start putting those into place, and you're going to have a nice size model, right? So we bring it in here. We're standing it upright on its back because this piece down here, the bottom of it's flat, so we don't have to worry about losing any detail. We're going to print this with no supports. Okay, we're not going to need any, I don't think we're going to need any supports for this. All right. What I also did setting wise to change the settings is my infill is going to be at 10%, and the shell thickness, this is something I learned on a video. It's not 100% every time, but I found that it makes better prints, at least for what I've been doing, is instead of 1 millimeter thick shell, I put it to 2 and sometimes 2.5 thickness. It gives it a little bit more rigidity and stuff like that. It makes it for a longer print, of course, but you know, you got to give and take. So this is what the bridge section is going to look like. Okay, so that's kind of cool. We're just going to slide this over. Okay, and then we're going to go out and we're going to grab the engine section also. Okay, put that down there. You can see that's, again, tiny little thing, right? Oops, come on, grab. Here we go. Okay, so that's a tiny little thing. We're going to also increase this because we want it to match the bridge, right? So we're going to take this and we're going to increase it to 500 also. And we have that. Okay, so now you could see the engine section. Okay, the engine section, when it's printed, is going to wind up being 2.5 inches long. Okay, so now we're at 4, 5, 6 inches for just the head or the bridge and the engine section. So that's kind of cool, right? Neato. So we're going to put this in the slicer. We're going to slice it up. And we're going to create a G file. And we're going to print these two items together. Okay, so now we got that set. That's one file, and we put it into onto a jump drive. We moved it over to printer, and that is now currently printing away. Next, we're going to get ready. We're going to print the tank portion. So we need tank 1. Okay, again, look how cute and pretty that is. It's so cute and tiny. Again, to match, we're going to move this up to 500. Boom, yeah, look at that. Now, that is going to make a respectable model, okay? The tank now is set up at 9.5 inches long. You add that to the 3 inches of the engines, you add it to the 4 inches of the bridge, and now we got a really respectable looking model, okay? Very cool. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to print both of these at once, and we're printing them on, of course, on their axis so we can get the height, because the bottom is no detail on the bottom, or the tops because they're the mating surfaces, so that's fine. Okay. And then we're going to go grab ourselves the second tank. Alright, we're going to change the size, increase it by 500. Whoops, not 5,000, 500. There we go. So now we got our tanks side by side. You can see them here. Okay. This is the way they're going to build up on the build plate. The same thing applies here as I did with the other one. I increased the shell size to 2 millimeters on the shell size. Infill is at 10%. Everything, so pretty much did that. What I also found is that sometimes when I just lay a piece here that's flat, sometimes it comes out okay, sometimes it doesn't. So what I like to do also, again, it wastes filament, takes more time, but I built the raft for the support, so it builds up a layer or two of filament and then builds it on top of it. I just find my surfaces, my flat surfaces, come out a little better when I do that. And then I felt that I had to do supports for these pieces inside of the these cargo areas. Would need support, so I added supports to that, and then we sliced these up and we sent them. We're going to send them to the printer next. Okay, so let's see what happens when they're done. Okay, welcome back. Here we are after hours and hours of printing, and here's what we're left with for our Cylon Tanker. This is the bridge section, okay, and you can see it's a nice size, but I had some issues. Okay, if I come in closer, maybe not. Maybe I go this way. Come on. I hate this camera. Anyway, you can see I had some problems around here. You look at the fin, it's transparent here. See how my finger goes through it? Okay, and actually it fell off. The rest of it fell off. Now there's snot along the way, but that's not unusual. You can clean that up. But overall, the printer, the detail, it's just all messed up. So this is kind of a failure. It's disappointing too, because this printed for so long. I forget the time that it took, but it printed so long and it crapped out on me. So that is a failure. Here is the engine assembly. Okay, now I had these bars that went across. I'm actually surprised that it printed these. It's pretty cool. And you can see these webby like things. They can be cleaned up. That's not a big deal. But overall, again, you're having a lot of problems with the print. It's just not looking very well. So this again is not a very good print. What I found out is that my extruder was partially blocked. Took a lot of effort to figure that out, because again, I'm a newbie. Was playing with temperatures and stuff like that, because this is like this stuff, what I got here is like after 4 attempts, and this is, I finally got a complete one, and this is what it looked like. It's just horrible. So turns out my nozzle was clogged. Wasted a lot of filament too, so got new filament, cleaned out my nozzle, and this is my prints now. Let's see, back out a little bit. You can see these are a lot cleaner if I compare this to this. Not even the color. The color is just 2 different filaments, but you can see there's a lot nicer finish to it. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So this is cool. This is a good base. These pieces here, the detail here, while they're kind of cool that they're there, I'm probably going to take them off and use styrene to make it a little bit better, more enhanced and stuff like that. So, but we're going to play with, this is a good base. This is what we're going to work with. So this is the engines. Very cool. You can see the head of this came out so much better, so much smoother. Still going to require some sanding and everything to get rid of the layer lines. But yeah, we got ourselves a really nice looking beginning to a tanker now. So that's really cool. Okay, put those aside. And then we got our tanks. Boom. Boom. Okay, let me see if I can't pan out so you can get a good look at them. They're just so big. This one may look a little funky to you because I left the supports on it right now. Okay, let me bring it in here so you can see this. Okay, you can still see the supports are on here. In here is those cargo areas. There's one there, there's one here, they're there, everywhere. Now what happens, this is what it looked like when it came off the printer with the supports. Okay, after you took the supports off, it looks like this, and now you can see the containers, okay, where they hid the Cylon Raiders and stuff like that. And my lights are pretty piss poor, but there is wall detail in there, which is pretty neat. Okay. So now, again, these are 9 inches long. These are, once they're finished being cleaned up, are going to go side by side like this. So what you're going to see is you got the tankers are getting cleaned up, and they're going to go together like this. The engine is going to go on the back like so. The head will go here, and that's going to be a mock-up of what our Cylon Tanker is going to look like. That's pretty cool. I'm pretty stoked about it. One of the things I don't like, though, about the 3D printing is it doesn't seem to do arcs very well. Okay, see here, these tanks are supposed to be rounded, and they are, but it's flat line, small flat panel lines. So that kind of bugs me a little bit. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. Am I going to leave it? Am I going to try to sand it? Because, this material is very hard. It's not like your regular styrene plastic to sand. It's going to take a lot of sanding, and it's small areas to sand in. So it's going to be a challenge to do. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, if I'm going to leave it like that or not, but still, it's really kind of cool. There you go. Now you can see the engine, the interior detail there. Again, still requires a lot of cleanup, but still. It's the only game in the market, really, unless you want to go paper. So I think this is really cool. I'm really happy with this. Again, we got the engines here. Okay. We're going to add some more detail to this. But yeah, that's really cool. So next, we're going to start doing a cleanup and then put it together. And of course, we're going to start the painting. So stay tuned.